Welcome to Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. This is not your typical financial radio show. As a licensed CPA, insurance agent, and investment advisory representative, Chris coaches his clients on a holistic view of financial well-being with an objective of providing a complete financial strategy to fund life's goals. Chris is here to guide you down the path to the financial serenity you deserve. Now, here's Chris Cooper.
All right, good morning. And folks, I've got my hands full today. We are going to test and see how well I can perform in front of yet another radio legend in studio with me today in the Serenity Wealth Now lounge and studio. We've got Mark Klose of KSHE 95. Mark,
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I was going to say, you must be a playa because you got Jim Modulin doing your voiceover.
The guy's
work.
the man.
I'm telling you, brother.
You can tell that's him?
Oh, absolutely. That voice is one of the most distinctive and one of the best as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know, when you're in the radio business, you can pick up on these things because that's not what he sounds like when he just says, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I know. That's because you aren't paying him. Once you pay him, he really sounds good.
Man, I guess I should just have him do that every time.
Absolutely.
Huh? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, now, Mark, when you're on air, I don't think you sound much different. Do you not have a radio voice?
Yeah, I don't think I do. You know, back in the day, it's funny because I started way back in '72, and still there was a lot of guys. Hey, how you doing, everybody? You know, and you had to have that. And I'm like, I don't think so. So I just kept it normal. And again, starting at KSHE, we're a progressive rock station.
Yeah.
And I do listen. If I even hear any tapes from way back when, the one thing I notice is we talked a lot slower. So we say Real Rock Radio. KSHE 95, that was Renaissance. And I don't know because everybody was stoned and they couldn't understand us or what, but we talked a lot slower. And now I've kind of sped it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's interesting because when I listen to radio stations, usually the classic rock stations, especially like on XM and Sirius XM and stuff, I do notice that some of like the classic vinyl is a little bit slower in how they talk. And I'm kind of like, why are we talking so slow? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's maybe that's our society. Maybe we should slow down a little bit, Mark.
I'm ready. I got all day.
Well, no, I think you did retire officially.
Well,
kind of.
Yeah. I had back in 2019, I had been working with Dave Glover.
Yeah.
Doing afternoons for about 10 years, talk radio, which I never thought I would do. I had a great time with Dave, and he always used to ask, "When are you gonna retire?" And I said, "I don't know. I'll know when it's time."
Yeah.
And I just got up one morning and go, "It's time." And I went in, and Jeff Allen was our program director, and he said, "Yeah, I think I'm done."
Yep.
And I talked to the folks over at KSHE, Tommy Matterin. I said, "Hey, I want to work part-time. Just do some," he goes, "What do you want to do?" And I go, "I don't know, what do you need?" And he goes, "Whatever you want." So I went over and did a couple of weekend shifts, and then they had an opening middays, and I did that for a while. And now I'm doing HD2, which is the KSHE classic station, if you will. And I do some fill-in work on KSHE. I'm kind of the fill-in guy.
Yeah.
Johnny Hewlett and I do a show on Sunday called Vinyl Exam, where we pick a record and just play it and talk about it.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for, since 2019. And I also host the Seventh Day that runs every Sunday night where we play like 6 albums in a row.
Sure. So you get to do the fun stuff.
Absolutely.
Your projects,
Absolutely.
if you will.
No, and it's they're very cool. They let, work with my schedule. I come and go as I please.
Nice.
Voice track or record, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier.
Now, all right, so being in the radio business, really starting with KSHE way back in the 70s, you've seen a lot of changes. I mean, that's 50-plus years in radio, bud.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. Still going strong, still loving it?
Yeah, I still enjoy it, and you're right. The changes have been just big.
Yeah.
Very corporate right now.
Yep.
Like in St. Louis, you got 3 main players. You got Hubbard, who owns us, Odyssey, and iHeart. And they own 90% of the radio stations. There are some independent guys like KTRS and people like that. But, yeah, it's changed in that way. Starting at KSHE in 72, we were owned by Century Broadcasting out of Chicago. But we had been playing, KSHE, when it started, that's why it was SHE. It was Music for Women. KSHE.
Interesting.
And it was like, Vicky Carr and that kind of stuff. And then one of the guys that was working there, Ron Els, who was the first Johnny Rabbit, had gone out to Los Angeles, San Francisco, and he heard one of the early progressive rock stations. He came back, talked to the owners, because at that point, KSHE wasn't doing diddly,
Yeah.
and said, we need to try this progressive rock. All right. We got nothing to lose at this point. And slowly but surely it turned over. We were talking earlier that KSHE went on the air November 67 full-time. And at this point, we are, KSHE, the oldest continuous rock station on the planet.
That is not just the St. Louis area.
No, not
that
the
is
USA, not
in the
North
world.
America's, in the world.
That is incredible.
Nobody's been doing it longer. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a long time and seeing a lot of changes in rock and roll along the way.
Yeah. And it's, and I mean, we went through early progressive rock where everything was 14 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then, they cut it back. And then, the disco came in, which really didn't affect KSHE, but early on, I remember like in the mid to late 70s, we were playing like the Cars and the Police.
Yep.
And people, hardcore KSHE listeners, like, what are you doing? That's punk. That's new wave. And I'm like, no, it is not punk.
No.
And then it became, monster bands.
Yeah.
For their time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's, everything changes. You know that. I mean, any business, any industry, if you don't, you die.
Yeah.
And so you make enough changes that you can still be viable, and do what you need to do.
And it's usually small changes that still give you the ability to stay in that roots.
Absolutely.
Right? Which, I mean, that's your rock and roll roots, right,
Yep.
with KSHE. But KSHE still, they play like Metallica.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
and that's that's what's crazy. That's classic rock now, right?
See, there's a big
Yeah.
point in that. For my people my age, I'm 72. For people my age, classic rock is Elton John, Billy Joel, Led Zeppelin, Elton John, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, for a younger audience that's in their maybe 50s or 40s, classic rock is Metallica, and Guns N' Roses, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it makes a big. It's just your age is what it comes down to.
Well, my kids are 19 and 16, and our 19-year-old loves classic rock, and he will listen to Cars, and he will listen to Led Zeppelin and the Police, and it's really cool seeing like, oh, that's really good music. We just don't get this in today's music. Like,
and again, without sounding biased, I've had these conversations that I think the greatest time period of music was like 67 to about 1980.
Yeah.
Because you had all those bands.
Right.
The Beatles coming to the very end of it, but then all the Beatles were putting out solo material. Styx, REO Speedwagon, Ted Nugent. These guys were knocking out
great musicians.
Yeah.
And doing different things.
Yeah. And doing at least an album a year. Hell, CCR, Creedence, had 3 albums in 1969. And out of that, they probably had 12 or 13 songs that charted.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 in 1 year. Yeah. So, and then you put Boston in there and just one great band after another, artist, and they were just producing music like crazy and constantly touring. So you had a chance to see it.
Right. So, well, that's the only way you did see bands, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get into the television thing, videos.
MTV,
it
became
I
very
keep
big.
telling my kids, like, MTV was great. We used to not know when something was going to, you knew with the commercial that a new song and a new video was going to air at this time on this day, and you watched it because there was no recording. There was none of this internet stuff.
No. Really, your Betamax wouldn't pick it up all the time. So, yeah, it's you're right. Well, I remember even time before that, being of the elderly nature I am, with like even early on, KSHE was the top 40 station, 630 in St. Louis, before FM really came into its own. And like with the Beatles, they would say, all right, we're going to have the new Beatles song for you Friday at 2:00. Well, you'd see people gather around the radio.
Right.
A group going, because it's a Beatles song, so it's going to be good. And they'd play it, and they'd play it 2 or 3 times in a row, and then it would go into rotation. So, yeah, it's – and I guess part of that, too, is that you've got so many choices. You talked about Sirius XM, Pandora. You can make your own playlist. There's a million different ways. Even with TV, and now you can stream. You don't have to go to the movie. You can wait for the stream to come. It's
a little bit different, right? Now, and my kiddos are big Spotify folks, and the challenge I have with that is that's only going to know what I want to listen to. It's not going to give me what I want to, like the new stuff or the new song or the new. Like I want to hear something that's different, but keep me honest, keep me in my genre.
Yeah, in your lane.
But give me the new stuff.
Yeah,
So
it was back in the day when albums were the big thing.
Right.
And, you go to EJ Corvettes and buy your album. What was it? $2.99 for mono, $3.99 for stereo. And you would listen. You'd come home, you'd track the first side, flip it over, and track the second side, and you'd hear some really good deep tracks, which you just don't hear anymore.
Right.
Everything now is you go online to hear it, and it's just a single.
Right.
You don't even hear the album. But so much of that deeper tracks, which is what we play on KSHE 2, is stuff that, especially in St. Louis with KSHE, we were trendsetters, man. There were other stations across the country, smaller markets, even big markets. They'd look at our playlist, and that's how they would add music to their playlist.
Yeah.
If they figure we're playing it, so should we.
Well, now there was a time, and I remember reading about this. I think it was actually the movie The Doors. They were talking about how you can't play a length of that song on the radio.
Right.
And that was kind of a thing. You couldn't, you had to keep it 2 or 3 minutes. And then people started challenging that.
Right. Well, the top 40 was 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Billy Joel talks about if it goes more, they put you back behind the can of beans or something like that. One of the things that broke that is the Beatles did Hey Jude, 7 minutes. And Capitol Records said, no, you got to cut it. And they said, no. And they said, yeah, we won't release it. And they go, we're the Beatles. Yeah, you'll release it. Yeah. Went to was their longest number 1 running song they ever had.
Yeah.
And then, and when KSHE started in 1967, we're doing Alice's Restaurant, 17 minutes long. And Pink Floyd, Echoes.
They've got some long ones.
23 minutes long, yeah. So, and people, you would find they would stay. They would listen.
Yeah.
And, if it was a good song, but yeah, the length of the song kind of made a difference before progressive radio kind of hit.
Right, right. Yeah, and that was much more of was that an FM thing kind of
guaranteed.
Made that?
FM, yeah. It was early, you would, because early on, it was really difficult to find an FM radio, especially in your car. You had to get a Mercedes or a Peugeot or something like that. And then CMC, which was this giant chain of stereo stores, started to offer, it was called an FM converter. And you would hook it to your AM, and then you could pick up FM. And they were like $29.
Yeah.
So everybody started getting their FM converters and be able to listen to FM radio. And, KSHE was a slow start because a lot of people just didn't have it, but slow but sure.
Right.
They picked up on it and realized what it was and made the jump. So
yeah. Well, and a lot of events too, right?
Oh.
So a lot of concerts, a lot of events with that as well.
Kite flying contests.
Absolutely. And local things too. Like I'm pretty sure KSHE's involved with El Monstero every year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we're kind of one of the sponsors
That's what I
with
thought.
Weber Chevrolet.
Which is always a great show, by the way. One of my favorites. We were talking about Pink Floyd. Every time I think about Pink Floyd, I think about an annual thing I get to do there.
Local guys.
Great.
Local guys.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best tribute bands I think I've ever heard.
And the show with it as well. It's amazing. And a lot of that's local.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Yeah, they
it's
put
incredible.
it on and the people come and they get their guests and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, and that's always been a big part with KSHE, with the concerts, being involved, giving out concert tickets, whether you're waiting in line for the Rolling Stones. I remember one year, like in, I don't know, like 75, they were playing the Keel. So we got a flatbed truck, loaded up with 7-Up and donuts, and went down there at 3 a.m. for these people standing in line. Crazy. But they remember that kind of stuff. And the kite, like I said, the kite flies, or the numbers on those things were just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Yeah, with the amount of people who would show up.
Yeah.
So, but that's how we kind of established ourselves as, I don't know, say radio for the people, but definitely something that
part of the community.
They take it really personally.
Absolutely.
If you're a KSHE listener, you are responsible for their success.
100%.
And they are. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So you've seen a lot of changes going from corporate and really probably more corporate today, of course.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that you were in talk radio for a little while too.
Yeah.
What do you think was different doing talk radio versus music? I mean,
as like I said, I was working, I think part-time, maybe at KSHE or whatever. And Dave Glover, who'd been doing afternoons at 97.1, somebody left. Jeff Allen would go back, called me and said, hey, would you be interested in doing it? And I go, yeah, why not? I hadn't done it. I was on KMOX for about 8 months back in like 83. And so I went on with Dave, and we started doing the show. And it was funny, for like the first couple weeks, we'd be blabbing for a while, and I'm like, we got to play a record. We're talking too much. It's a talk radio station. And, and we just had a great time. And Glover is totally out of his mind, which makes for great radio. He has no buffer, no muffler. He'll say whatever he's thinking. And even I remember early on, he would say something, and I'd look at him, I go, we're on the radio, right? But that's why people loved him. And he was number one for a long period of time. So, yeah, that took some getting used to.
Sure.
Just kind of going and you try and get a subject where people, but the one thing about that is you can't emulate that. You can't go to Spotify.
Right.
If you like a certain talent because of the way they talk, you got to listen to that talent,
right.
whether it's Howard Stern or Dave Glover or some of the other locals in town. So,
absolutely. Well, you mentioned Jeff a few times. He was a guest on our show
a
few weeks ago. Great guy, NewsTalkSTL, and just a wonderful station they got going on. All talk radio there.
Yeah.
So great folks out there. So, all right. So obviously you've been doing this for a long time. Still working. Is it work when you enjoy it though?
No. It's the fact if someone would have told me, back in 1972, and it was a wild hair. I was freshman year at Merrimack. I went to Vianney, graduated. It was 2 at Merrimack, and I went to KSHE and applied, and they were in Crestwood. And the only reason I went there is because I lived in Crestwood, and I knew where they were. If it would have been another station, I would have applied there. And I went in, and Shelly Grafman was the boss, and I talked to him. He said, "You got any experience?" I said, "No." And he said, "Well, we don't have any openings." I said, "All right." So I came back like 6 days in a row. I just bugged the hell out of me.
We don't get that kind of tenacity these days.
I figured you might as well. So on the 6th day, I got hired. And so I was going to start the next Monday. So, back in the day, you want to look nice.
Yeah.
I had my double knits on and a button-down shirt. I went in, and I walked in. I said, "Hey, Mr. Grafman, how you doing?" He's, "Who are you?" I go, "You hired me last week." "Oh, yeah, okay." So the story we did it was a little cinder block building in Crestwood, across from the Crestwood Plaza.
Yeah.
So he's go, "I got a big job for you." And I'm like, "Really?" And I'm thinking, I'm going to interview Led Zeppelin. This is it. So we walk around the back of the building. And at that point, the building had the tower, the studios, and the transmitters were all right there, which you don't normally see anymore. So we went around the back of the building. He said, "I got a big job." And I said, "Okay." And he pointed to the doors with the transmitter. He goes, "You see that's where the transmitters are." He goes, "And if they get wet, we're off the air." And I'm thinking, does he think I'm an engineer? I have no idea. But he goes, "When it rains, that water comes down the gully behind this building.
Okay.
And it can cause a problem." And he leans over and grabs a shovel and he goes, "What I need is a drainage ditch."
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, okay, I guess everybody starts in radio that way.
Well, he did say a big job.
A big job. And it took 5 or 6 hours and my double knits and a nice shirt, and I dug a hell of a ditch.
Well,
and it did the trick. So,
and people listen to the station during rainstorms.
Absolutely. And
you're welcome, St. Louis.
Thank you, because every time it rained, they had to worry about it. But I did fail to mention that the money they were paying me, I started at, and I don't like to brag, $25 a week.
All right.
I mean, it was major coin coming down.
Go.
So $100 a month.
Nice.
Okay, and then I was delivering bumper stickers and making coffee, emptying waste cans, sweeping the floor.
Yeah.
Just pretty much everything. And a lot of the guys there started that way.
Yeah.
Just kind of get your foot in the door.
That's how it works.
Yeah, and hope one of the jocks got sick and be able to sit in for him.
And then you take advantage of your opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just like the major league pitcher that's sitting there in the minors and gets the call up, right?
Somebody got hurt, slide me in.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Bullpen phone rings.
Absolutely.
Put me in, baby.
Put me in.
It's time.
Let me prove what I can do.
That's right.
So,
Makes sense. Got to be ready when you're ready.
Absolutely.
When the time comes.
Yep.
So, all right. So you've also done a lot of other things, little business ventures here and there as well. So what are some of the cool business ventures you've been involved in?
Probably, I guess I was doing mornings at KSHE, so it might have been 75. I started morning 75 or 76, and I was making more than 25 a week, but not much more. And I went to my boss and I said, "Hey, I need a raise." He goes, "We haven't got it." I said, "Okay." I go, "Can I have one commercial every morning?" And he goes, "Yeah, knock your lights out." So I went in and I started, we call it Close Encounters.
Okay.
And part of it was spinning records, wedding receptions, bar mitzvahs, parties. And I started doing that, and it paid much better than radio.
Yeah.
And, I worked, they'd call with weddings, you'd book them a year in advance.
Right.
So I'd look, and all of a sudden I'd look at my book, and from like the beginning of April until the beginning of September, I was booked every Friday and Saturday night.
Not bad.
But the money was great. I had 3 systems. Joe Rush from the radio station.
News Talk,
Yep. He was one of my guys that went out and did music for me.
Okay.
I had a couple other guys doing it. So that part went well. I had a couple of guys that approached me from a travel agency, said, hey, we want to do trips with you. And I'm like, cool, I can talk about it on the air. I get a minute every morning. So we did, we'd go skiing in Idaho. Is it Sundowner or something? It's kind of like a hidden valley there. We did trips to Jamaica. We did the Cardinal weekends to Chicago, Cardinal Cubs.
Nice.
Where you get in the bus and travel
I
up.
remember those,
Oh, God, those
were
nuts. Those were insane. So we did those. So that was my first taste of like, okay, you can do something on the side, because I found it, when you work somewhere, it's much easier to avoid asking for money. That's the last thing they want to give you.
Yeah.
But if you just have, hey, you got extra inventory, you got an extra room I can set up, like, yeah, what do we care?
Right.
And so I did it and it worked out. It worked out really, really well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, so when Jeff was on here,
Yep.
he did specifically mention that, hey, you're going to have the conversation with Mark in a few weeks here.
Yeah.
You need to talk about his venture into the ice cream business and industry.
Ever tell you how I really don't like Jeff?
I'm sorry. I gotta know.
No.
I've been dying. The last couple of weeks has been killing me. This is
it damn near killed me too. I'm working at KSHE doing afternoons, so it's, I don't know, 2007, whatever, somewhere in that ballpark, maybe earlier. And I just got a wild hair, and I want to open my own place.
Okay.
Why, I don't know. And everybody's like, yeah, all my friends that had restaurants and bars are like, dude, don't. So anyway, there's a place up on Manchester Road near 141, and it was an it was a drive-through coffee place that opened up. I went and saw the guy. His name was John. I said,
and this was back in the day when 141 was just that one little road.
It wasn't real big. So it was late 90s. So it was still there.
So before the expansion. Yeah, gotcha.
And so I'm like, I go to the coffee store and he said, here's the deal. If I could basically be parasitic and ride off your coffee store, I just need a corner to do my ice cream. One machine, like a Ted Drew's kind of deal. And he said, yeah. And I said, and I will, every time I talk about it on the air, I'm going to be mentioning your coffee shop because I got to tell them, so you'll get all free advertising.
There you go.
So he let me have the space for free.
Okay. And
I went and Southern Products or something. I got a machine, got it all hooked up and did it and just started to realize, man, this is a pain. And it lasted all of 56 days.
Yeah.
So, and they said it wouldn't last. But it opened my eyes to how much, work being an entrepreneur is, being an individual, and doing that. And like I said, the end of the day, I opened it, closed it, and it might have cost me $1,500.
Well, when you start with free rent, that's a pretty good combo, right? You got a minute of marketing right there on air when you need it. That's a good start.
And I bought the machine, the soft serve machine, and it comes liquid in bags.
Yeah.
And you pour it in the top, and then it comes out frozen custard. In fact, one of the times I went up in Southern Products, was somewhere up North County, and I needed some product. So I drove up there, and I got like 2 bags. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking out, and they've got 2 semis that are loading. And I said, are those going out to a bunch of stores throughout St. Louis? I go, no, it's going to Ted Drew's.
I was going to say.
Just Ted Drew's. And he's got like a whole freezer area that, the guy does. I was not a threat to Ted Drew's.
So I assume you have a little bit of a different level of respect for their operation.
Absolutely,
now.
Yeah. I had 2 bags. He had 2 semis. But
they do a pretty good job on their custard.
Oh yeah,
they're kind of known for it.
Oh, you think? So yeah, he does all right. And so yeah, it was fun. I tried it. It was it was one of those kind of things where I could get in and out of it without getting crushed.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, you got to sign up year lease in a building. Whether you're open or not, you're still paying that lease, brother.
Right?
And they wouldn't take it under a business name; it had to be a personal name, so they could come after you. Because if your business went belly up, so it was a real eye opener.
It was a little bit of a different spin from your real your background. Media, right? And I know you're also involved on the print side, right?
Right.
With West
News Magazine,
yeah.
One of the owners of that for
a little different on the print side, but still media.
Oh yeah,
right?
Exactly. And what's worked with that, this newspaper's been in business 25 years, and I got absolutely nothing to do with it, which is why it's working well. I'm smart enough to stay away, but that part has worked. And, it's, you see the bit. Oh, and I owned, for a period, Easy Vends, which are those 3-headed plastic vending machines that sell like Mike's and Ike's and peanuts. They got, put a quarter in and you turn them.
Yep.
I'd looked into that, and God, this is even longer ago than that. And I went and talked to a guy, and this guy was a great salesman. He goes, oh, man, and we're in his condo, and right in the middle of his coffee table, he's got a giant bowl full of quarters.
Yeah.
He goes, you're going to need a wheelbarrow to take all the quarters you're going to make. We're like, wow. And I told a friend of mine about it. He goes, can I get in on this? I go, yeah. So we went. We each bought 15 of the machines. We had to put them together. Then you go to Sam's and buy M&Ms and Mike's and Ike's and all that. And then they had people that professionally placed them for you. And 3 of the places they placed them were closed. And I'm like, I couldn't even get in to get the machine.
Jeez.
But we tried it. And again, we ended up selling the machine to some young lady that had a bunch of them. I guess what I try and do if I'm looking into a side hustle or business, try and set it up that I'm not going to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Okay. I may lose a couple bucks, but nothing big.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I always forget about Mike's and Ike's and the Easy
I do
Vends.
like Mike and Ike's.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm a sugar candy guy, not the chocolate personally.
Right.
So.
No, and yeah, we did that and had our machines, and a buddy of mine I'm still friends with. I've known him for 50-something years, and he was the guy I went in with, and we'll see each other, and like I'll be at his house in the garage, and there's a wheelbarrow. I'm like, use that to carry around your quarters?
All those quarters.
Shut up. So
now they're all digital, I bet.
Yes.
You do the Google tap or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So you are a drummer in a band that keeps you pretty busy as well, right?
Yeah. We have been, it's close quarters, or quatters, as people say. I say.
Well, is that from the wheelbarrow with the ice cream?
It should be, but no. And we were the first band, we were called Close Enough. So we could play a song, get done, and go, well, that was close enough, and then move on to the next one. So the quarters were a bunch of guys, 5 guys. We do classic rock, some pop, and we just started back up about 4 years ago, and it's just going nuts.
Nice.
I mean, if we don't book any more gigs this year, we'll be at like 43 gigs.
That's a
which
lot.
is a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And we were talking before the show that many of them are afternoons.
Yeah, that's
which
great.
we love.
Yeah.
Being an older person, I get home, get my nap.
Yeah, well, there's none good. It used to be like nothing. Remember, nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah.
No, it's like 9.
Yeah. Oh, it's yeah. 9 is the new midnight. Is the new 6. So we play until 6 or 5. We're good. We get out. So yeah, we have a great time. It's fun. It's just a cool feeling. I mean, I didn't start playing drums till I was like 55. It was a midlife crisis. And I took drum lessons and then hooked up with these guys. And there's nothing better than being somewhere, like being in a bar or a restaurant, and you're playing and everybody's just kind of sitting there looking at their phone and not paying attention. And all of a sudden you roll into a tune and they start bopping their head.
Yeah.
And you got them.
Nice.
Now you got them. And
That's
then they're
awesome.
up and they're dancing in place. It's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah.
And the guys in the band are just tremendous. I am absolutely the weakest link in this band. I'm there because of my name. If I didn't have a name, I would not be part of it.
I'm sure you keep an all right beat there, too, Mark.
I keep a straight 4/4, and that's about it. Nothing fancy.
Yeah.
But we have a great time, and it's just fun, man.
That's
it's
what life's about.
Absolutely, man. Go out and have some fun.
Find what you like to do.
Yep.
You don't really ever have to retire, because you enjoy it.
Just keep working, man. Just keep, and as long as you can do it on your terms.
That's right.
And it's, I won't do anything early morning because I did all those years of morning radio. And
but you get to pick
5.
and choose now.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You didn't get to.
No.
Before.
No. And
you got to earn those stripes.
Yeah, you had house payments and kids and all this kind of stuff. And, you get to the point where it's like, okay, we're beyond that. And you're kind of, I'm not wealthy, but I'm okay. I'm doing good.
That's what life's about.
Get
to have some fun, earn some little side stuff, keep you having fun, paying for those future things.
Absolutely.
Not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, all good.
Well, Mark, thank you for not completely embarrassing me on my own show here today.
Job.
Holy cow.
Man, the setup you got out here is nicer than we got
the
on
legends
our radio
I get the opportunity to speak with here on Serenity Wealth Radio. It's pretty amazing.
It's really cool, the fact, and some of the guys you've had in, I know from, Vic Porcelli,
great guy.
Yeah, he's not right, but he's a good guy. So I worked with Vic for a while too. He's a good guy. yeah, it's just kind of fun to, like you said, this is, you've got your wealth management, and then you get to do a little radio thing. It's fun. It's something you get to do that you enjoy, and that's good. That's always
keeps
good.
you young. Thanks for coming in, Mark.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Keep doing good stuff.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming in and talking about a very fascinating industry, the radio industry. And you can see he's got some other entrepreneurial experience as well. Some of it's more successful than others. But when you stay in that lane and you stay in that media focus, which is right for Mark, it gives you that ability to enjoy what you do, have that confidence, and really see some good success as well. What's neat when you talk to entrepreneurs and really people that have retired and done some different things along the way, it doesn't feel like a job when you're really passionate about it. And there's a lot of people that retire and just decide, you know what, I'm not really a retirement guy. I'm going to be one of those people that needs to be active, needs to enjoy doing some different things, stay active, staying part of the community. And when you enjoy what you do each and every day, it doesn't quite feel like work. Right? So working some part-time hours, doing some things you're loving that you've loved, maybe you had a passion about and you want to do some things a little bit different that maybe you just missed a career angle or you just enjoy doing something. I'd run into a lot of people that retire and decide, you know what, I want to go and work part-time as a yoga instructor or do some physical therapy or do some charity work. These are things that keep our minds and brains young, right? Keeps us active and engaged. Humans are schedule-oriented individuals. We're not meant to just kind of lollygag through our life. We need some direction. We need some structure. Now, it's nice when you can enjoy that structure as well. Keeps you focused, keeps you young, keeps you the people I talk to that enjoy their retirement and live long, happy lives are the people that find hobbies and things to do to keep them entertained and busy. Sure, it can help if there's some side money involved, but it's also about just making sure you enjoy yourself. You can put yourself in that position to take those things on that you want to take on, not because you have to, but because you want to. And I think that's the key piece. You're going to work and you're going to retire and you want to go back to work doing some things. It should be something that makes you happy, right? It should be something that you're excited about. And the cool thing about working with the business owner community that I get so much of an opportunity to speak with all the time is they all are passionate about their companies and passionate about helping the community. And so they tend to work longer. They tend to work longer because they enjoy doing it. It's hard to think that it's work. I know it. I get it firsthand. I love what I do. I get to help people every single day. People call me with a problem, and I get to help them figure out how to solve it. And I get to enjoy that conversation, and I get to figure out how to help them successfully navigate the challenges that come with the financial markets and retirement and making sure funds last and solving for concerns that really do matter, like taxes and legacy and succession and really complicated things. But ultimately, it adds so much value to those individuals, and I get so much satisfaction about being able to watch that happiness and that peace of mind transpire, because so they can do what they want to do, so they can have that life that they deserve. Because that's what it's about. We want to enjoy today, but we want to make sure we enjoy tomorrow as well. That's what we call financial serenity. You deserve it too. Check us out, SerenityWealthNow.com. Tune in each and every week, Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. for Serenity Wealth Now Radio.
Serenity Now! This is Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Request a free copy of Chris's latest book, The New Holistic Retirement, by visiting SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.